Here I have the very latest and greatest electric cars, and I'm going to drive them all non-stop up the motorway until they die. Basically, I want to see how far each of these cars can go on a single charge and exactly what happens to them when they do eventually run out of charge. Do they steadily coast to a halt, or do they suddenly just die? Anyway, we're going to find out. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Carwow. You know what, all these EVs, they sort of make you want to hug a tree. Yeah, don't worry, it's going to be all right.
Buying a new car? Then head to Carwow, and my team will help you find your next car at a fair price. Carwow, your one-stop car buying comparison site.
Right, here we go. Let's start this mammoth EV range test, and I'm going to kick off in the Ford Mustang Mach-E. All the cars have been fully charged. We've reset the trick computers. We're going to find out how far they can go. Okay, so we're on the M1 heading north. So let me tell you a bit about this Mustang Mach-E. The range starts at £41,000. For that, you get this car. It has a 76 kilowatt hour battery, which gives you a claimed range of 273 miles, but we'll find out exactly how far it goes. However, if you spend an extra £5,000, you can get a 98 kilowatt hour battery. Then that gives you a claimed range of 379 miles. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that car for this test, but we'll still be able to see how far this car can go and what its energy consumption is like in terms of miles per kilowatt hour. As for the charging of this car, it can charge at a maximum rate of 115 kilowatts. Now, this entry-level Mustang has a single electric motor driving the rear wheels, and it puts out 269 horsepower. It's good for 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds, and when you're driving along, it feels pretty sprightly. Nice pickup. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's easily quick enough for day-to-day driving. If you have the car with a 98 kilowatt hour battery, you actually get a more powerful motor, 294 horsepower. However, because it's heavier, because that bigger battery, it's ever so slightly slower to 60 miles an hour by 0.1 of a second. However, if it's performance you want, you can get a dual motor version of this Mustang Mach-E. Now that has 487 horsepower, so it can do 0 to 60 in just 3.7 seconds. Probably don't need that really. So then, what's this Mach-E like to drive? It's actually pretty nice. You get a decent view forwards because you sit relatively high. The suspension, it's a touch on the firm side, and you notice that when you're driving around town that you feel bumps a little bit more than you might expect to in a car such as this. The trade-off is that when you're on a twisty road, it does have a sporty feel to it. Worthy of the Mustang name? Not quite, but for an electric SUV, it is reasonably good fun to drive. When you're on the motorway, it's pretty decent as well. It's reasonably quiet. The seats could do with a little bit more support, but you know, they're okay. I do like the look of the interior. It's pretty cool, and generally quality is good. You've also got this huge screen there, which is quite nice and bright. It's not quite as good as the system in a Tesla, which is sort of ripping off, but it's the best system Ford does. The only thing I'm not sure about is this physical button for the volume. It kind of just spoils the screen a bit. There we go. As for the practicality, well, it's sort of good and not so good. So space in the back is good, despite that sloping roofline. Headroom's good, legroom's good, you've got a flat floor. However, the boot is rather small. It's just over 400 litres, which means it's the smallest boot here. Thankfully, you do have a little bit of extra space underneath the bonnet. There's 80 litres under there, so you can put your cables and stuff, and maybe a soft bag as well. Finally then, we need to look at the energy consumptions. At the moment, I'm averaging 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. I've only done 21 miles, and already I've used up quite a bit of battery. I've got 87% remaining, and the car's trick computer reckons I'm going to be able to do about 182 miles remaining. Let's see how the other cars are doing. BMW, can you let me know how much battery you've got, what your car's remaining range is, and your energy consumption, please?
I've got 200 miles of range on 90% battery. My average kilowatt hours is 3.3.
How about the Hyundai?
So I'm sitting on 87% battery with 223 miles of range left, and I'm averaging 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour.
What about the Audi?
So I'm on 88% battery, 200 miles, and we're doing 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour.
Tell me about the Kia.
The Kia is on 233 miles to go. It is averaging 3.3 miles per kilowatt with 91% battery.
And finally, the Skoda.
The Skoda has 90% of its battery left, which is 233 miles, and that works out at 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour so far.
I've jumped out of the Ford Mustang Mach-E and now I'm in the BMW Ix3. So this car is a little bit more expensive. It starts from £61,000, though you can save an average of £1,200 off one through Carwow. In fact, if you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can go to Carwow to see how much money you can save on a new car. Also, you can now sell your car through Carwow. You just upload some photos, give a brief description, and our dealers will bid on your car, so you should get a good price on it, and they'll come and take your car away and give you the cash. It's dead simple. Now, if you want to do that at a later date, you just simply Google "Help Me Carwow." And let me give you some stats on this BMW. So the range is dead simple. There is pretty much just one motor battery choice. So you get an 80 kilowatt hour battery, which supposedly is good for 281 miles. The car also comes with just one electric motor driving the rear wheels, and that puts out 286 horsepower, which is good for 0 to 60 miles an hour in 6.8 seconds. In terms of pickup, yeah, it feels exactly the same as the Ford, really. You can't notice much difference. Though this makes a slightly spooky sound when you accelerate. Can you hear that? It's because the noises on this car have been composed by Hans Zimmer, so they're all a bit futuristic. It's not worth the extra money you have to pay for this car, though, over the Ford for these noises. Although I do quite like them. So what does this Ix3 feel like to drive? Well, it feels like a normal X3, though not quite as good. And the reason for that is that it's heavier because you've got the batteries. So apart from the pickup and the relative silence, it's just a little bit firmer over bumps. Because it's heavier, this car, they've had to fit slightly stiffer suspension. I do think it's a bit better over bumps than the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and in terms of sportiness, it's pretty similar, really. It's relatively quiet in here, probably a little bit quieter than in the Ford. You don't get much road noise, but what you do get is a little bit of wind noise from around the pillars there. Probably noticing that because there isn't a diesel engine chugging away into the bonnet, which is what I'm normally used to in a BMW X3. One of the problems with this car, though, is that while all the other cars in this test are bespoke electric cars, this is an adapted chassis. So obviously you get the X3 with a diesel or a petrol engine, and in this one they've just stuck in an electric motor and some batteries, so it's a bit of a compromise. What's not a compromise, though, is the interior quality. It's a definite step up over the Ford, though I'm not sure I think the design is any better, though I'm partial to the two-tone interior with the beigey bits. I do like BMW seats, lots of adjustment and enough support. If a little bit on the firm side, but I like it slightly firm. The tech works well, but it doesn't have the wow factor of that big screen in the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Does it feel £20,000 more expensive in here? Not gonna lie, I don't think it quite does, but you may want to pay the extra for a BMW badge than you do a Ford badge. Actually, it's a Mustang badge, isn't it? It's a horse, or is it a pony? It's a Mustang. In terms of the practicality, it's a little bit bigger in here than the Ford Mustang, a bit more room in the back seats, though there is a hump in the floor, and that's partly because of that adaptive chassis. It's not completely flat like in the back of the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Still a bit more roomy, and visibility I think is better than that Ford. So too is the boot capacity. You've got 510 litres of space, which is pretty good. However, there is no space underneath the bonnet, which is a bit annoying. I'll tell you what else is annoying. The design. It's a little bit old now, isn't it, the X3? It just doesn't look as cool as the Ford, or the Kia, or the Hyundai, or the Audi, and probably not even the Enyaq either. Oh dear. Do you know what? Even though this car uses a converted internal combustion engine platform, it does feel more sophisticated in the way it drives compared to that Ford. Not quite as sophisticated as the normal X3, but better than the Ford still. I suppose that's where some of your money's gone. Alright, so we've been driving for 50 miles and it's got about 75% battery remaining and 193 miles of range. It's averaging 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Can you give me how much range your Ford has left, please?
I've got 76% of my battery left, and that gives me 169 miles of range, averaging 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour.
I think that Ford might have to duck out first. To be fair, it does have a lower range than all the cars here because it's the entry-level version. Unfortunately, that was the only Mustang Mach-E we could get for this test. We couldn't get the bigger battery version, but we'll still be able to see how efficient that Ford's propulsion system is. Audi, what are your stats?
Right, so we're on 77% battery, 195 miles, and we're doing 3.2 miles a kilowatt hour.
How about the Skoda?
The Skoda has 80% of its battery left, which works out at 217 miles, and at the moment it is doing 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour.
Hyundai, what are your details?
So the Hyundai is currently on 76% battery with 191 miles of charge remaining, and it's averaging 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour.
Finally then, the Kia.
The Kia is on 82% battery. It is averaging 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, and we have 201 miles of range left.
Okay, interesting. So the cars are quite closely matched. It looks at the moment that the Skoda is going to go the furthest, but with a slightly different average consumption rates, that could change. We'll find out. I'm now in the Audi Q4, so another German vehicle. Feels a bit different to that BMW. For instance, the interior design is a little bit more modern, a bit sportier, a bit darker actually, because we haven't got the two-tone thing going on. And if I'm brutally honest, yeah, the quality isn't as good. The BMW feels more expensive. It does. There's a lot of cheaper feeling bits and pieces in here. Apart from the steering wheel, I quite like this four-spoke steering wheel. It's nice, very new age. Now the driving experience, I think this is smoother than the BMW. Over bumps, it just feels a little bit more composed, a bit more relaxed, and it's still pretty much just as good round the corners as the BMW. It's quiet as well. Bit of road noise, but hardly any, and not much wind noise either. It's very just chill to cruise and do distance in, which is handy, isn't it? Considering I've got to schlep up the motorway in it. In terms of the practicality of this car, roomy back seats, nice and comfy. Big boot as well, 520 litres, so slightly bigger than BMW's. But yet again, no space underneath the bonnet, which is a bit odd because this car is actually a bespoke electric car platform. You'd have thought they'd figured that out. Now, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of this Audi Q4, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below to go check that out. Now let's talk about the Q4 range. So it kicks off with the 35 model, which has a 55 kilowatt hour battery, which will give you a range of up to 212 miles. It's rear drive only with 170 horsepower, which is good for 0 to 60 in 9 seconds. Then you can get a rear drive version with an 82 kilowatt hour battery, and then you get a range of 324 miles. That car has 204 horsepower and can do 0 to 60 in 8.5 seconds. Finally, in the UK, you can get this car, which is the 50, and it has 2 electric motors, one at the front, one at the back, so you've got 4-wheel drive. Combined, they produce 300 horsepower, so this car can do 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds, and when you put your foot down, it doesn't actually feel like it picks up quite as well as the BMW, and you don't get that freaky Hans Zimmer noise. Where are you, Hans? We need your special synthesized sounds, yeah? We don't have them. Maybe I can make them. Ooh. Ah. That's fine. Now this car's quite expensive, £63,000. Still, range is decent. It's supposed to do 298 miles on a single charge, but will it? So far, this car has done 100 miles, and I've got 56% of the battery remaining, and that's saying that I've got a range of 149 miles, and I'm averaging energy consumption of 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour, which is fairly decent. You might be wondering what that warning light is there. Don't worry, I've been through the menus, it's nothing serious, just something wrong with the car's battery, not the one that powers it, the one that powers like the electrical system, but it all seems to be working fine. Actually, it's probably a warning light telling you that really, if you buy an Audi and you want some options, you have to pay extra for them. For instance, even though this car costs £63,000, you don't get active cruise control nor a reversing camera. You have to pay more for that. It's a bit of a shame, because otherwise the tech's pretty decent, like the infotainment system and the digital driver's display, though it's not quite as colourful as the BMW's. So I'm just going to run Android Auto anyway, aren't I? There we go, see, Android Auto. So let's start off with the Skoda, because obviously that's 4-wheel drive as well. How much battery have you got left?
Skoda Enyaq has done precisely 100 miles. I've got displayed 175 miles of range left, and I'm doing 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour.
Okay, then how's the Kia doing?
Kia has 65% of battery left, 157 miles, and 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour.
And what about the Hyundai?
The Hyundai is on 57% battery with an estimated 140 miles remaining, and it's turning over at 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour.
How is the Ford doing?
So here we're at 55% on the battery, it's saying 122 miles left of range, and we're doing 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour.
Finally then, what is the BMW doing?
I've got 55% battery, 162 miles of range, and I'm averaging 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour.
I've moved out the Audi and I'm now in the Hyundai IONIQ 5. And this car just feels a little bit cooler on the inside, really. Who'd have thought that a Hyundai would feel cooler inside than an Audi? But it just does. It's got a slightly more futuristic design. It feels very spacious as well. It's really good what they've done with this. I like the big screens. I like the comfy armrest here and here. What's not so comfy though is this bit here. If you like to drive like that with your elbow up there, you might end up with a sore elbow because that's hard plastics. I don't think the materials in here are quite as good as in the Audi, and definitely not plush as in the BMW, but the starting price of this car is less than the two Germans. So it starts from £37,000. That'll get you a single motor version with rear wheel drive and a 170 horsepower motor and a 58 kilowatt hour battery, which will give you a range of 238 miles. However, I wouldn't have the entry level version of this car because for an extra £5,000 you can upgrade to the 73 kilowatt hour battery version, and that'll give you a range of 298 miles. Plus, you get a more powerful motor driving the rear wheels.
It has 217 horsepower.
Do you know what though? I probably wouldn't go for that car either. You see, for £45,000 you can get this dual motor version, so a motor at the front, a motor at the back, and combined you have 305 horsepower and 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. So the pickup is better than in that Audi and the BMW. So this Hyundai is faster than those two German cars. Thing is though, you do suffer with the range for that added power. So it's not quite as good for the range as the single motor version with the bigger battery. So the range of this car is supposed to be 285 miles, but we'll find out about that a bit later on when we see how far it will really go. As for the driving experience, it's quiet. It's very comfy actually. So far I think this is the most comfortable car. The seats help, so nice and figure hugging, but also quite soft and squidgy, and the suspension just seems to waft over bumps. It's not the sportiest drive though, but do you really want a sporty drive? If you do, maybe get a Tesla. As for the practicality, well, there's loads of cubby spaces in this car, absolutely tons. It's really, really good. Also, there's loads of room in the back as well. What's not so good though is that because you've got the batteries under the floor, like you have in most of the electric cars, the seat is quite low to the floor, so your knees feel a little bit high, so it's not as comfortable in the back as the BMW. And this car has a bigger boot than the BMW. It's 527 litres, not by much, but you know, every litre counts. Speaking of which, there's some more literage at the front because you do have a boot under the bonnet. It's a bit smaller with the dual motor version than the single motor version, but still some space is better than none. One thing I'm really liking about this car so far is the visibility. There's just so much glass. Also, even though it's more like a big hatchback than say an SUV like the BMW, you get a great view forward because the dash is low and the windscreen is so huge. I'm really, really liking this car. I think it's my favourite so far. In fact, if you want to find out more about this car, you should watch my full in-depth video review of it. If you want to do that, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. Another thing I like about this car is the look of it. It just looks so cool. You think the inside is nice, the outside is even more futuristic. Arguably the best looking car here, but let me know what you think. You can leave a comment below. There is one thing that isn't totally brilliant about this car, and it's the efficiency. So it's saying that I'm averaging 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which isn't terrible, but it's not amazing either. Now I've actually got 30% of the battery remaining, and it's saying I've got 76 miles to go, and so far I've only actually done 160 miles, so we're a little bit off what Hyundai claim. Let's check with the other cars now and see what they have remaining. Ford, can you tell me how many miles you got left?
Ford is currently on 29% battery capacity with an estimated 61 miles left, and I'm currently doing 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour.
Oh, actually, that's more efficient than this car. It's just that it's got a smaller battery, so it's got less range. Okay, how about the Audi?
I've got 28% left in the battery, 86 miles of range, and we're doing 3.3 miles a kilowatt hour.
So it's got a bit more range, but the car's not quite as efficient as this one. How about the BMW?
I've got just under 40% battery, 94 miles of range, and I'm still averaging 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour.
Actually, the efficiency on that BMW is pretty decent. So it might not have the best claimed range, but it uses its battery pretty well. How about the Kia? How's that doing?
On 43% battery left, we've got 103 miles to go on an average of 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour.
Now that's insane. The Kia and the Hyundai are very similar underneath the skin, yet that Kia is just being more efficient. Maybe it's because of that sporty, slippery shape. It's just more aerodynamic, and that matters a lot with an electric car. In fact, this car's drag coefficient is 0.29 CD, and the Kia's is slightly better, 0.28 CD. It's having an effect. Finally then, what's going on with the Skoda?
The Skoda has 37% of its battery remaining, and it reckons that'll get me 112 miles. It is averaging 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour.
So once again, similar system to the Audi, but it's just been more efficient, and it looks like it could go the furthest. It's not over yet though, it's not over. I'm now driving the Skoda and sat behind the Hyundai IONIQ 5, which I was just in. It feels a lot less high tech. I mean, just look at the back of that Hyundai with its cool dot matrix lights and the digital look of it. This just looks like the Skoda SUV, which might be exactly what you want. Anyhow, the Skoda Enyaq range starts from just under £35,000, though, wait a minute, you can actually save, on average, £1,100 off a Skoda Enyaq through carwow. Now what I've actually done is configured one of these cars in this group test with my ideal battery and motor combination, and got a great saving through carwow. If you want to see what the car is and what the spec is and what the saving is, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. Now, let me tell you about the actual range itself. You start off with a 58 kilowatt hour battery and a single electric motor driving the rear wheels in the 60 model. That car has a range of 256 miles and 177 horsepower from its motor. Now you can actually get a bigger battery version with 77 kilowatt hours, which will give you a range of 336 miles. Yeah, that's much better, isn't it? Also, you get a slightly more powerful motor, 201 horsepower. But if you want the most power from your Skoda Enyaq, you want this dual motor version. It has 265 horsepower and four-wheel drive. In fact, you can do 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds. And when you put your foot down, it feels pretty nippy, actually. In fact, I can't tell any difference between this and the Audi. However, more power means less range. So the range of this compared to the single motor version with the bigger battery, 303 miles, so slightly less. It's also more expensive. So the single motor, bigger battery version is £39,000, and this one, £46,000. Anyone who still thinks that Skoda is a lesser brand needs to come and sit in this Enyaq. If you ask me, it doesn't feel any less expensive inside than the Audi. And also, like the Hyundai I was just in, look, we've got squidgy materials here on the top of the door, so when I rest my arm up here, my elbow is comfortable. And that's really important. It is very conventional though, this car. We do have a big screen here, but what I'm not so keen on though is this. Look at that silly little digital driver's display. And you can't get a bigger one. It's odd. I don't know why they've done that. That's the only thing that I really don't like about the interior design of this car. Other than that, it's practical, so it's roomy in the back seats. Not quite as roomy feeling as the Hyundai. The boot is bigger though. In fact, it's the biggest boot here. The capacity is 585 litres. Unfortunately, unlike the Hyundai, there is no separate boot underneath the bonnet. Do you know what? I like the way this thing drives. It doesn't feel overly firm, but it doesn't feel too soft and squidgy either. There's a very reassuring Skoda-iness about it. It doesn't handle it in quite such a sporty way as the Ford Mustang, but overall I do think it's slightly more comfortable to travel in. It's quiet as well. Get a bit of tyre noise, but not really all that much, and there's pretty much no wind noise. Other than really wanting an Audi badge, I see no reason to have the Audi over this. No reason at all. Actually, another reason I'd have this over the Audi is that it seems to be more efficient. So it's averaging 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Could have something to do with the fact that it is more aerodynamic than the Audi. 0.26 CD compared to 0.28 for that Q4. Speaking of efficiency, let's see how much battery we've got remaining. So 26% of the battery says that'll give me a range of 74 miles. What are the stats on the Ford Mustang Mach-E?
It's showing 17% battery for 36 miles of range. Average is 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, and I have the low battery signal on, so we're getting close to the end.
Oh dear. It's efficient, but it's got a smaller battery than the other cars, hence it's not got that much range left, but it's done a decent job so far. Most likely it's going to be the car that leaves first. So Hyundai, how are you doing?
Currently sat on 20% battery with 47 miles of range left and turning over at 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour.
Oh, well, that's not so good for the efficiency. It's not much different really in remaining range to that much smaller batteried Ford. What about the Audi? What's that doing?
So we're at 17% battery, 48 miles of range, and 3.2 miles kilowatt hour is what we're getting for efficiency.
Really interesting. It's a very similar propulsion system to this Skoda, yet this Skoda is just more efficient. How about the Bmw Ix3?
Got just under 25%, 63 miles left, and I'm still averaging 3.6
kilowatt hours.
Yeah, pretty good, very close to this Skoda. Finally then, what's the Kia saying?
The Kia has 32% of its battery capacity left, which translates to 76 miles, and it's ticking along at 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour.
I've now jumped into the Kia, and it may only be 4:15 in the afternoon, but already it's going dark. Good old British winters, eh? It's a nice car though, I really like the interior, especially with the ambient lighting. It looks good. In fact, I like the interior of this car better than any of the others I've driven so far. It's a really cool design. It's got the tech, it's got the style, it feels modern, feels sporty. Kia's done a brilliant job with the inside of this car. I really like the way that Kia, despite having all the tech, they haven't tried to put all the controls for the climate into the screen. They've actually got them separately down here, which is really nice. It's just easier to operate.
I'm going to have to come up at the next junction. I've only got 27 miles.
Okay, which car is this?
It's the Mustang Mach-E.
Oh dear, so how much range have you got remaining?
Got 27 miles and 12% battery, but it's looking a bit sparse for chargers past this point, so I'm going to peel off here.
Oh dear, the Mustang is the first to fall. Here comes the junction. This is where the Mustang is going to leave us. Bye bye Mustang, bye bye. It's now got so dark that we've had to turn on a light so that you can see me. Now let me continue telling you about this Kia. So even though it's based on the same platform as the Hyundai, it has a noticeably different driving experience. It just feels a little bit firmer in its suspension because it's got a bit more of a sporty setup to it. As a result, you do feel the bumps more in this car, though if you're on a twisty road, it does feel a bit more responsive and a little less kind of relaxed and just chilled like the Hyundai is. The driving position is sort of similar, you know, you get a good view out, though out the back the visibility is nowhere near as good as the Hyundai. Another thing that's not as good as the Hyundai is a space in the back. So knee room's pretty much the same, but the sloping roofline means there's a bit less headroom, and I think you feel like the seat base is closer to the floor than it is in the Hyundai. So your knees are a little bit higher up, so it's not quite so comfortable in the back. Also, the boot capacity is less. It's 480 litres, and at the front, the boot capacity, the front boot, or should that be fruit, capacity is less. It's 20 litres. It's not quite as big as in the Hyundai yet again. So the Hyundai is a more practical car, but this is a sportier car. In terms of the exterior design, you know, it's up to you which you prefer the look of, but I think both this and the Hyundai look the best. Personally, I think I prefer this, but I'd want it in the matte paint. It doesn't look so good in the red. In the grey matte, spot on. Yeah, it's really nice.
Right, so I've got to leave at the next junction. I've just had a battery warning light flash up. I'm on 10% charge with 22 miles remaining, doing about 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, so I'm going to tap out soon.
So which car is that?
The Hyundai.
You know what, I think it's also time for the Q4 to say bye. We're on 23 miles now, 8%, red around the battery thing, and I've got a low battery warning as well, so I'll be pulling on too.
Looks like we're about to lose both the Hyundai and the Audi. Two fall together. It's going to be interesting to find out which out of those two go the furthest. The guy's going to continue driving, same with the guy in the Mach-E, and we'll pick them up later to find out exactly how far they went before their cars stopped completely and what happened when they did stop. Did they just suddenly stop, or did the cars slow down gradually? We'll find out. So this is the junction the Q4 and the IONIQ 5 will be leaving at. Here they go. Goodbye, guys. We'll see you on the other side. So I've just had a warning pop up on the screen here saying I've got low battery and to find a charging station. Yeah, I've got 16% remaining. It says I've got 37 miles of range. So if I'm doing that, I wonder how the BMW is faring. BMW, how much range and battery you got left?
So it's saying that I've got about 10% battery, 32 miles range, and I'm still averaging 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour.
Do you know what? I'm averaging exactly the same as that BMW. So what's happening with the Skoda?
So the Skoda has 33 miles of range left, which is 11% of its total battery capacity, and it is doing 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour now.
It's going to be close between all three of these cars. Are we going to leave at the same junction? Are we going to gamble and see if we can go a bit further? Who knows? Oh dear, look, it looks like the BMW and the Skoda are leaving. So Skoda, you're going?
That's me, 8%
battery, 23 miles of range, so I need to get off the motorway now.
It looks like we lost both the BMW and the Skoda. Just to recap there, the Skoda had to leave the motorway to head to a charging point because it was down to 23 miles range remaining and 8% battery. The BMW also left because it was down to 24 miles of range remaining and around 10% battery. So it's funny how the BMW actually started off with less range and it's caught up to the Skoda. Anyway, I'm carrying on. Oh, wait a minute, oh no, I've got a warning sign, low battery, 10% of battery remaining. So I know there's a charger about 22 miles away and I've got 22 miles remaining. Hopefully I'm gonna make it. Ooh, it's gonna be close. I'm left on my own now on the motorway heading north. Probably a good time to finally give you the stats on this Kia. So the range starts off at £41,000. For that you get a rear drive only car with 229 horsepower and it has a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack which will give you a range of 328 miles. Or you can upgrade to this one, the dual motor version, which has 325 horsepower, so you can do 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds and pickup is good. Oh wait a minute, it usually is. It's not right now. I think since I've had that low battery warning, it started to reduce this car's power. It doesn't feel 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds anymore. That's probably for the best because I'm trying to eke out as much distance as I can out of this thing. So the dual motor version, its range is 303 miles, though obviously we're not going to quite make that. But how close can we get? We're at 246 miles now, got 15 miles of range left. It's getting close, isn't it? In terms of the price, well, the dual motor version starts from £47,000. No, we don't need any hills. What are we going uphill? We need downhill. So I've got a bit of a dilemma right now. I've got 6 miles of range remaining, 2% of battery. I know there is a service station directly off the motorway in 8 miles. Thing is, I can't risk running out on the motorway. It's just not good. So what I'm going to do is leave here and head to another charging point, which is off the motorway, which is about 4 miles away. I should be able to make that, or should I gamble? I don't know, what would you do? I'm tempted to gamble. I think I might gamble. Oh no, my bum's starting to get a bit squeaky. I think I'm gonna leave. Bottled it at the last minute. Oh dear. Oh, I think I've let myself down. Should I have been brave? I don't know. It could have gone horribly wrong. I think I can make this one though. It's not a definite, because I'm at 2% battery. Oh, I tell you what, I like this. When you put the indicator on it, sends you a little camera feed of your blind spot. That's brilliant. Right, it's up here. Don't want any wrong turns because a wrong turn could absolutely scupper me. Going this way. Oh. Look there, see, blind spot warning, really, really good. So the charging point is just down here. I'm just gonna go scout it out. I've still got 3 miles of range remaining, so I'll definitely make it. The question is though, am I going to be able to keep on driving around this location to wind out the last bit of range to see how far I can actually go? Or I'm going to have to head out onto the road again and maybe chance it and see if I can just wind off some range and eventually make it back here. Oh my God. I thought I'd been here before, and I have. The very first range test we did ages ago, I actually made it here in the Tesla Model 3. Now if you want to see that video, click on the pop-out banner up there to go watch that video. I can't believe it, I was like deja vu. This is the place, I don't know exactly where the chargers are. Oh wait a minute, I've got a horrible feeling there might just be Tesla chargers. That would be a very bad thing, because obviously I can't charge this using a Tesla supercharger. Please have some other chargers there, please, please, please. Oh no, they weren't Tesla chargers, were they? Look, they were InstaVolt. We're on. So I've got 3 miles of range. I'm gonna have to do a bit of driving around and then come back here. And hopefully I'm not gonna misjudge that, otherwise I might not be coming back here. All right, I'm just gonna start driving around in circles for a bit. Let's see how this plays out. This is how I like to spend my evenings, most nights. Just cruising around estates, trying to run out of battery power. The trip computer is saying that I've done 260 miles and I've got 1 mile of range remaining. In theory, I should do 261 miles, but can I go further than that? We'll find out. I'm not giving up. Oh dear, we've got the tortoise symbol. The power is limited on this car. I don't want to see that. I want to see how much range I've got left. Obviously, it's less than 1 mile, it thinks, because that's all I can see. Can I clear that? I don't know. No, it's not letting me do that. Anyway, that's not going to stop me. Oh, it's a phone call. This must be our first person to drop out. Let's find out which car it is. What's it going to be? Hello, who's that?
It's Jack in the Mustang Mach-E.
Oh, you're the first to fall. Go on, how far have you gone?
Yeah, I'm out of juice in Knaresborough. I got 228 miles after about 45 minutes on 0%. The car came to a crunching and clunking halt in a housing estate. Wheels can't move, steering wheel can't move, and I can't be pushed. So I am pretty much stuck until I get help.
Oh dear. What was your car's average energy consumption though?
It was 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, so not too bad.
Okay, that's actually pretty decent. Do you know what? I'm going to let you get on and find some help because I'm still going. I've got to keep driving round and round and round. So I'll speak to you later, all right?
Yeah, speak to you later, Matt.
All right, bye-bye. Who'll be next, eh? Who'll be next? We're basically on 0% battery, but we're still going. Oh, phone call, what's this? Who is it?
Oh, it's Ryan in the Audi.
Oh, hello, Ryan. How you doing? What's happened?
So the Audi's dead.
Oh, how far did you go?
So it managed 234 miles.
234 miles. And what was the average energy consumption?
3.2 miles per kilowatt hour.
Not brilliant. So what happened when it ran out?
It was alright to be honest. It's let me come to a safe stop, so there's no abrupt, slamming on the brakes, anything like that. It's just basically stopped accepting throttle input.
I'm still going here. Haha. I'm going to beat you.
Sorry for some, innit, Matt? Sorry for some. It's fine. We'll pull up. We'll be alright.
Alright, Ed. Speak to you later.
Take care, Matt. See you in a bit.
I'm going to keep going. I reckon there's quite a bit left in this. It said I had 1 mile of range at 260 and I've done 1 mile. Should have no range left. But I seem to keep on going. This Kia is unstoppable. Right, here we go. Look, we've got another phone call. Which car is it this time? Let's find out. Hello?
Hello, Matt. This is Simon in the IONIQ 5. I've run out of battery.
No way. I'm in the Kia and I'm still going. So how far has it gone?
So I've managed to go a total of 237 miles before I gave up the ghost, and that was with an average consumption of about 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour.
Do you know, I'm absolutely beating you in this. I can't believe it. But what happened when it ran out? So I've got an idea, because it should be the same kind of experience.
So it was a little bit odd. It sort of, as it got closer and closer to being flat, it lost a huge amount of power to the point where it was struggling to get up to 10 miles an hour. And then when it absolutely conked out, it just rolled slowly to a standstill. But just before it stopped, it sort of launched itself into park mode, so it lurched to a stop really suddenly, which was a little bit unpleasant, to be honest.
Okay, all right. Well, hopefully you're all right and you'll be able to get it moving again to get to a charge point. Is one far away?
Yeah, so there's one just on the other side of the car park, about 40 meters away. So I've timed it pretty badly, really. But we can push the car.
Okay, well, do you know what?
The steering isn't working.
You better go find someone to help you then, because I'm a little bit further up the road than you.
I'll go make friends.
All right, yeah. All right, I'll let you go do that. See you later.
All right, see you later.
So that is 3 down, 3 to go. Hope this ends soon. I'm getting really bored. Oh no, I've got someone behind me. Oh god, they're pulling off. They're going to get really annoyed with me. Just going around so blooming slowly. Thankfully this housing estate is pretty quiet right now. If I was on the main road I'd be causing absolute chaos. Speaking of chaos, who we got here? Hello, who's that?
Hi Matt, it's James.
What are you in again?
Bmw Ix3.
Oh right, oh, okay. So what's happened?
Well, I've run out of juice.
Obviously. Come on. So how far have you gone now?
I'm standing in the cold.
That's why he's standing in there. How far did you get?
257.5 miles. Not too bad.
Okay, yeah. And what was the average energy consumption?
About 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour.
So what happened when it ran out of power?
Well, I was driving around the car park and I got bored, so I thought I'd do a 3-point turn and, well, it wouldn't get into gear or go into reverse, so it just died.
Oh dear,
Yeah.
okay, so you're a little bit stranded.
A little bit, but Nick's in the same car park. He's still driving around, so hopefully he can help me out because I'm about 400 metres from a charge point.
Oh, so the Skoda, Nick in the Skoda's still going, but he's right near you.
Yeah, he's in the area.
Okay, all right, and so now it's between me and the Skoda. All right, I'm going to let you go because I've got to concentrate.
All right, well, catch you later.
All right, bye-bye. Come on, Kia. Oh. There it is. I think I've won this then, unless I suddenly cut out as well. This has got to be the Skoda. Is that Nick in the Skoda? Yeah?
Yes, it is. Hi, Matt.
Hello. Come on, tell me. All I need to know is how far has your car done in total?
My car has finally conked out at 264 miles.
Yes! I've beaten you. Definitely beaten you.
You want to know the best bit? I did the last 3 of those miles in special manoeuvring only mode where I couldn't do more than 4 miles an hour. It took me nearly an hour.
Oh.
It was ridiculous.
Oh my God, okay. Yeah, because I thought you left earlier than me, so I thought you'd have conked out ages before, but that's why it's, been going so long. Okay, I'm glad I've won. Now I've got to do is find out exactly how far I can go, so I'll speak to you later once I've finally stopped.
Best of luck, Matt.
All right, cheers then, bye-bye. Well, it's a win for the Kia, but just how much of a win? You have to bear with me while we find out.
One eternity later.
Oh, don't. Come on, I've got to manage this. I don't want to stop. God, this junction. Oh, here comes a hill. Come on, you can make it up here. Come on. Oh no, this is it. This is it. This is it. I think I'm going to visit these people just here. That's it. Park engaged. I didn't choose for that to happen. The car has finally died. It just eased off from the power, reduced it, and now it's engaged park to protect itself. So I've done 273 miles. And it's average 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Now the claimed range of this car was 300 miles, which means it's done 90% of that claimed range, which is pretty good actually. What's not so good though is that I didn't get back to the charger, so I'm stuck. Now I could knock on these people's doors and see if they can get an extension cable, and I can use a 3-pin socket to charge the car very, very, very slowly. Also, I might be disturbing their dinner if I knock on their doors now. Alternatively, I could call one of the breakdown organisations, and I know that the RAC has special vans which will come out to you if you're broken down in your electric car, because they have onboard equipment which can charge your car wherever it may be. So I think I better call them. After about 20 minutes of emergency charging from the RAC's rescue van, I was able to get the Kia moving again, and I've driven a short distance to this rapid charger here, so all is well. And well done to the Kia. It won. It managed to do 273 miles on a full charge, which is 91% of the claimed range, which is fairly impressive, as is its average energy consumption of 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, if you want to see how those figures measure up to all the other cars, we've got this table here. If you pause the video, you'll be able to compare them. And I must give a special mention to the Ford Mustang. It may have had the smallest battery and gone the shortest distance, but it also managed an average of 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, just like this Kia.
You might be wondering why the Kia outperformed the Hyundai when they share many of the same parts. Well, Kia uses a different battery supplier, has a differently tuned battery management system, and was fitted with a heat pump which provides more efficient cabin heating. And all these seem to help give it a better range. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. If you want to watch some more videos, click on the windows. And if you click on the central box there, you can go to Carwow to see how much money you can save on a new electric car. Thanks for watching.